such a two directions. I had no hope, we never follow instinct, we just don't understand a different situation. We've lost our land. My heart's a rebel. Your heart's a rebel. You always share affection with everybody else. I think that you should learn to love yourself. The man that you were lost, the man that brought you here, he's always in your memory, he's always here. My heart's a rebel. Your heart's a rebel. A rebel, your heart's a rebel. My heart's a rebel. Your heart's a rebel.
Okay, let me set that screen correctly. There we go.
Oh,
Hey, how are you today?
glad to be back on the show. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great. You know me, I work graveyard shift and I'm always perpetually tired, but today's a special occasion because you are back. How are you?
Yeah. Oh, it's great to be back. Yeah, so life's been pretty hectic for me. Working for the past 6 months, just working really hard. Yeah, I mean, went to Greece back in July. Yeah, just gonna be working on my book now, so that's gonna be fun.
I've seen the pictures on Facebook. You do quite a bit of extensive traveling.
Yeah, so it was really cool to see the sunset and go hiking in Santorini. Like the first time I went to Santorini, it was 2022, and I was at the height of my chronic illness. Only a couple months after that trip, I got my hysterectomy, and yeah, I couldn't walk or stand without pain, and hiking would have been impossible. But then, I thought, oh, I'm never going to get a chance to hike, across Santorini, and then I did, and that was great. So I went from Pura to Ia. That was really nice. Saw the sunset there. Going to the castle, and that's where you get like the best sunset view with the windmills. It's just absolutely beautiful. One of the most beautiful sunsets I've ever seen. See, that's high up there with like Waikiki Beach in Hawaii.
Okay. I just, I mean, I envy you. Doing all this traveling there, going to Greece, and I know you were in Japan like a previous.
Oh, best place I've ever traveled. Japan was definitely the best place I ever traveled. So that was like for my 30th birthday. So a month after my 30th birthday, we went to Japan. So we went to Tokyo, we went to Kyoto, we went to Osaka, we went to Nara. That was just the typical kind of tourist route. We also stayed at a ryokan right by Mount Fuji. That was really cool in Fuji Kawaguchiko, and that's where that Lawson store blocked the view of Mount Fuji. Because too many tourists were flocking there. But yeah, no, Japan's amazing. Definitely, like my goal is just to be able to travel there at least once a year. That would just be amazing. Absolutely love it there. The baseball game was really fun. Definitely got me back into baseball, really. Although I don't really follow it, I'm just fascinated with the history and the people behind it and the culture behind it.
Yeah, when it comes to traveling for me, I always make plans to leave the country, go somewhere. Something comes up where I'm not able to. A lot of it is affordability, but eventually it happens. I mean, it eventually happens. I mean, my lifelong dream was to go to England 20 years ago, 19 years ago. And I eventually, I did. I was in London for 6 nights, and I was in Paris for 11 hours, and I loved every minute of it. But, but previously I was trying to make plans and something came along, a car accident or what have you, or just bills coming along that would prevent me from doing this and all that. And, every time I make up plans, something come along. I wanted to go to Portugal last year, but it just didn't happen. So, but whenever I do travel abroad, I mean, I'm grateful for it. And I plan to do some more, but for sure. So.
It's really a privilege to be able to travel abroad, live abroad. I mean, I definitely feel very thankful, even if life can be tough sometimes. I'm very thankful that I was able to leave America. And I left like right before Trump was elected president, like months before. And I remember my friends and I were talking about, and we were like, oh, surely Hillary Clinton will win. And then my friend called me in a panic in the middle of the night and said, Angie, it's an emergency. Trump won. And I was like, fuck.
He's worse this time than he was the first time round. I mean, the first time round, it was like standard Republican shit, but with some silly tweets and an occasional. And he was
funny. Like, that's the thing. He was pretty funny then. And now it's like, it's not funny anymore.
And he was occasionally moderate. And there was sometimes he kind of broke from Republican orthodoxy. Now he doubles down on the Republican orthodoxy. Everything that you hate about the Republican Party, he doubles down on it. And so, he's beginning to be worse than George W. Bush. Like, he couldn't get any worse than George W. Bush. It's like everything I hated about George W. Bush, he's like trying to intensify it. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm just always terrified, for my own family. My mom's from Venezuela. She's even like, oh my God, if I get seen at the wrong place at the wrong time, ICE could just come out and just take me off the street.
We have a friend of the show. I won't give his real name, but he goes by Cowboy Kitty on Twitter. His sister-in-law was detained by ICE. I mean, just on a routine, I think it was like a routine checkup on the road or something like that. And just, everything is legal for her, but they just decided that they were going to detain her. She's in some kind of detention center right now, and we're trying to do a fundraising for her so she could she should be freed again and all of that. So it's terrible what's going on. I mean, and it's not an unreasonable position to want to abolish ICE. I mean, it's not. I mean, just. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to have no borders at all, but you of course all societies have borders, but customs. All countries have customs. That's all you need. You don't need these jackbooted thugs with the mask going around and throwing people out of their cars and put them in a van and taking them elsewhere. And that's what's going on. And he's talking about homegrowns. Americans he's planning to send to El Salvador and Guantanamo Bay. People
I
should
canceled a trip back to America a few months ago because of all of that. It terrified me. I did not feel comfortable. I was just like, I was worried for my husband. I was worried even for myself because I'm very pro-Palestine. I'm very socialist. And I'm like, oh God,
Yes.
I don't feel safe stepping foot there. Yeah, I don't think I ever see myself going back to the US. I wish I could renounce my citizenship. It's just so annoying that it costs money to do it. And I'm like, why? Shouldn't.
Well, I shouldn't say this, but if I had a choice when I was born, I would not have been born in the United States. But that's neither here nor there. But you're in Coventry, England. You've been living there. I mean, I know you were living in Ireland previously. You moved to Coventry, England. So that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. And there seems to be a lot going on in the UK right now politically. Now, God help the UK if Nigel Farage becomes the next prime minister. That's a damn scary thought. Yeah,
it terrifies me. I heard someone at my job say that Labour was socialist and that he couldn't wait for Farage to get in. I'm just walking by. I'm an American immigrant. I'm also the child of an immigrant when I was living in America as a kid. So, a couple generations of being an immigrant. And I felt so awkward. I was like, I can't be there much longer. Like, do they not know?
Yeah, well, Labour used to be socialist, but
it's sad. It's tragic what happened to Labour. And then, what they did to Jeremy Corbyn, accusing him of anti-Semitism, and it's all Gentiles doing it. Sure, there's some, Jewish Zionists doing it, but there's Jewish people that do support Jeremy Corbyn. There's Jewish people who support these anti-Zionist politicians like Mamdani.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and in New York, the polls have it so where the majority of Jewish voters, which most Jewish voters are Democrats anyway, the majority of Jewish voters are likely going to vote for Mamdani. And so even some liberal Zionists will vote for Mamdani because his position is not, his position is not a quote unquote jihadi position. What was the most militant thing he said? And I support it. Arrest Netanyahu if he sets foot in New York City. A not at all unreasonable position. He's got corruption.
He deserves to be arrested and more.
Yeah. Well, behind bars, because I oppose the death penalty under all circumstances. Yeah. Even a piece of shit like Netanyahu, and Netanyahu can fuck off. But anyhow, and it offends me. It offends me what they did to Jeremy Corbyn, who's a decent man, because Jeremy Corbyn, what they did in the hypocrisy, because I remember, I think it was the 2017 election where Theresa May had to reach out to a political party in Northern Ireland called the Democratic Unionist Party.
DUP, yeah, they're one of the conservative, like pro-UK. Yep, they're the kinds of guys who fly unions.
Protestant party,
Protestants. Yep.
Ian Paisley's old party when he was alive. And they're anti-Catholic, anti-gay. And if you're anti-Catholic and anti-gay, pretty much the anti-Jewish thing comes into mind. So, they're going to sit there and lecture Jeremy Corbyn for saying Israel should behave and not be mean to the Palestinians, and that's somehow anti-Semitic. But all of a sudden,
like in Ireland, I don't think there's a whole lot of anti-Semitism, only because nobody really knows any Jewish people over there. I remember just being the only one who was Jewish around. Like, I remember somebody told me, "You're the first Jew I've ever met." And then the crazy thing is, I was going to school at the University of Limerick, and I lived in one of the neighborhoods, like the student neighborhoods, like right nearby. And not far from where I was living, there was a Jewish cemetery.
Yeah, I don't really associate Jewish people with Ireland. Now, there is a Jewish population in the UK.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, that's where like 10cc came from.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily associate it with Ireland. that's interesting. Yeah, I never thought about it till now. So, but the point being that
There's a
Jeremy
lot of
Corbyn.
people in America who are mixed Irish Jewish. That's something I did notice a lot. I was like, damn, there's a surprising number of that. Like I have family who are.
Oh, that's Irish and Jewish. Do I know anybody who's Irish and
Yeah,
Jewish?
my dad's cousin married a guy of Irish descent. Oh, and then
Okay.
my grandpa, he has a friend who's Jewish and he has an Irish wife.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think any Jewish Irish marriage that I know of. No, I can't. I know a lot of Jewish WASP type marriages. Yeah, yeah. So
Definitely, yeah, I wouldn't say
even though some Jewish black marriages, but I never thought about Jewish Irish.
technically kind of my family, kind of, yeah. I mean, even my own family, because my mom's part black.
Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, Jeremy Corbyn, when he became leader of the Labour Party, it was disavowing everything that Tony Blair brought to the Labour Party back in the 90s, and it was something that was very, very welcome at the time. And if I can get the graphic here, this is the let's see, I think this is it. Okay, share screen. I'm my own producer, by the way. All right, let's see.
Love DIY stuff.
Clement Attlee, and I'm sure you know who Clement Attlee is.
Heard the name. Yep.
Yeah, the Prime Minister of the UK in 1945, the guy that is responsible for all the socialism that Britain was able to achieve, basically, the welfare state, the selective nationalization of industry, the National Health Service was all due to this man, Clement Attlee, who was the Deputy Prime Minister during World War II, the number 2 man under Winston Churchill. They had a mixed cabinet during the World War II, and so his Labour government created a very good society, the strong labor unions, basically I would call it FDR's New Deal on steroids, and so and again, it was a consensus in Great Britain, because even when Winston Churchill came back in 1951. The only thing he did was privatize steel and iron. I mean, that was not really it wasn't really a whole lot that he did. And Harold Macmillan, who was the successor to Winston Churchill, gave a left-handed compliment to the labor reforms, a Tory, a conservative, and he basically told the British public, "You never had it so good." That was a famous saying in the 1950s, and so, the consensus was social democracy or democratic socialism, or what people perceive as, a European concept of socialism, the mixed economy. Clement Attlee was responsible for all that. Harold Wilson, basically, he continued the tradition of Clement Attlee. And even when Ed Heath became prime minister in 1970, the Tory, there was not, they didn't really do too much to tinker with the system. And then Harold Wilson came back, and then James Callaghan, because Harold Wilson had to step down. And then 1979, everything came to a crashing halt with Margaret Thatcher as the prime minister. And that's when Britain, in my opinion, went really downhill with all of the
and that happened at the exact same time pretty much as Reagan. And everything is just, it all traces back to that. So that's why I often say that the UK is kind of the America of Europe.
In many ways, because Reagan and Thatcher, they were very similar in a lot of ways. It's hard to say who was worse, because Margaret Thatcher, to her, as horrible as she was, she actually kept with the privatization she engaged in. She didn't really fuck with the National Health Service, because she knew what the American nightmare would be like, and she knew it would be political suicide to take that NHS away from the people. And Reagan his damage was a hell of a lot more. I mean, the unions were pretty much destroyed because of Reagan, and because of Reagan, he managed to not only just destroy the social contract, the New Deal social contract that was kind of in existence, but pretty much he scared the Democrats into Reaganizing the Democratic Party, which is why the Democratic Party is an absolute toilet today. And just the idea that the Democrats are socialists is preposterous, or they're been hijacked by the so-called far left, and people don't know what the fuck far left means in this country.
Yeah, it's the same here. Like, I'm scared. Like, I thought that people were, very supportive of universal health care, but I find amongst conservative people here, they're definitely not. They're just like, I've seen people complain about, oh, these people are not paying into the system. And I'm like, they're clearly saying about immigrants, they're saying about disabled people. And I'm like, guess who doesn't pay into the system? Children with cancer. Do you want children with cancer to just die and not have health care? Very messed up. And it's just awful hearing all this stuff. And, as an American living here, people don't exactly I'm an immigrant, but I'm seen as probably more assimilated in many ways because I speak the same language, albeit very differently. But it's really messed up here. And I feel like the Overton window's definitely shifted to the right, much like in the US.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like it is. If these folks who are critical of the NHS in the UK ever get to experience the American model in the UK, because Nigel Farage says that he would like to see the British people go into an insurance-based system like the United States, they will change their tune very quickly. I promise anyone in the UK who may not like their own system, that they would change their tune, because, as an American, I can say, and you as an American recalling of what it's like to live here in the United States under the American system, and we know that the American profit system is garbage. And
Yep.
and if anything, we should try to strive in America to be more like the National Health Service, not the National Health Service that's like starving for funds right now, but the National Health Service.
How was in the 60s?
Yes, the National Health Service as it was established and in its heyday, even during the days of Margaret Thatcher. And I shocked a lot of people when they told me Obama was a socialist because of Obamacare. I said, if I would have had a choice of between living today under Obamacare and living in the 1980s in Britain under Thatcher with the NHS, I would have rather lived in Britain in the 1980s under Margaret Thatcher than to live under Obama's America with a healthcare plan that was basically prepped up by the Heritage Foundation. So
that was the biggest disappointment I had in Obama. I remember when I was 14 years old, I discovered, wait, there's people who live in countries and they don't have to pay for healthcare. So Canadians don't have to pay for it. They just go to the doctor and it's free. The English have that free too. And I was like, wow. I was like, yeah, we need universal healthcare in America. I was really big on that because I was like, no, nobody should ever feel like, oh my God, I can't go to the doctor because of money. The only reason you don't go to the doctor is you just don't want to. That's how it should be. Not anything to do with money. Money shouldn't be a barrier to getting things that are necessities.
Yeah, and they scared the thing is that the Democratic Party, they didn't advocate a national health service, but they advocated at one time. They advocated something a little more modest that I was okay with, and that's the Canadian style system, the national health insurance, what we call Medicare for all today. And some Democrats claim to be for the Medicare for all today, but the bulk of the Democratic Party are still resistant to it. I mean, I tell people who think that the Democrats are socialists, I said, Democrats, when it comes to healthcare, their positions ranges from Bernie Sanders on the left all the way to Mitch McConnell on the right. I mean, that's the Democratic position on healthcare and everything in between. So there's no way. I don't think we're going to ever have that system. So
yeah,
I want to go and do a little shout out to Snipe Hunter. Hello, Willie and Angie. Let's see here. We have Desert Mantis here, and hello, Desert Mantis. So anyway, I guess we probably better get to the subject at hand with what's happened recently. So probably the way to start it is let me go ahead and do this here. I guess we'll start with an article. Let's go ahead and find that article from BBC News. There we go. All right, let me get this right here. Okay, here we go. From July 24th, 2025, Corbyn launches new party to take on the rich and powerful. Former Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn launching a new political party to take on the rich and powerful and campaign for redistribution of wealth. The independent MP for Islington North said the party, which does not yet have a name, will offer an alternative to the control freaks of Labour and dangerously divisive politics of Reform UK. Earlier, Corbyn issued a statement with Zara Sultana, who recently quit Labour to become an independent MP, saying, quote, "It's time for a new kind of political party, one that belongs to you," unquote. Responding to the launch, the Labour Party source says the electorate has twice given its verdict on Jeremy Corbyn-led party. In a statement announcing plans to form a new party, Corbyn and Sultana vow to fight injustices such as child poverty, giant corporations making a fortune from rising bills, and the government saying there is no money for the poor but billions for war. Asked whether the party would be a rehash of Labour under its leadership, Corbyn said the Labour Party is a very top-down, highly centralized party that is full of control freaks who wants to control whatever goes on within the party. This is going to be a community-led, community-based, grassroots-led. This is going to be very different. And you know what? It's going to be fun. Speaking to the BBC on Thursday evening ahead of the local community event and his Islington constituency, he added the party structure would be quite federal. He added that there would be a core set of values and beliefs, but also a lot of local autonomy. Your party is the name. Your party is the name of the sign up of the sign up website. But Sultana posted on. I will not call it. By the way, I'm not going to call it X. It's always Twitter. I am going to dead name Twitter till the cows come home, Angie. I will never call it X. Posted on Twitter to correct some early posts suggesting that this was the new party's name, saying it's not called Your Party. Corbyn rejects the suggestion the new venture had been haphazardly launched, telling reporters it's not messy at all. It's still a coherent approach. Asked when they would choose a name for the party. We're going to decide when we had all the responses, and so far the response rate has been massive. They're coming in at 500 a minute, wanting to support and join the new party. He also insisted in relations with Sultana were all fine, saying that we're working absolutely together, although his co-leader in her Coventry, excuse me, I'm sorry, I lost my place. We're working absolutely together on this, although his co-leader was in her Coventry constituency. So it sounds like that's your MP, right?
Unfortunately not. I live in a different part of the city. I wish.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
it's a big enough city, I think, that has a few MPs. But yeah, mine's Taiwo Owatemi, I think is how you pronounce her name.
Oh, okay. How's your MP?
I think she's pretty pro-Israel. I didn't vote for her. I voted for the Greens.
Mm. Oh yeah, I mean, other than Israel, how is she on some of the other issues?
I actually don't know much. Yeah. I think she's probably just typical Labor.
More like down the line, in other words.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Yeah, and it's as I said, I used to admire the party. They were pretty militant against Thatcher in the '80s. Well, at least the left wing section, the group Labor Militant, really caused a lot of havoc back in the 1980s. Which reading about them and all of that, I admire the work that they did and everything. But it's fascinating. There's people been signing up, and there's not a name yet. So I just think that's really cool. What I'm looking forward to whatever they're going to call themselves.
I'm looking forward to it too. Like, I definitely want something, exciting that we can get behind. Like, I felt like, in a way, like, politically, I felt dead after Bernie was, cheated.
Well, at least you got Britain's better Bernie. Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, Bernie is so done right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't exactly feel like Bernie Sanders. I don't hate Bernie Sanders, but I grown tired of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
About
caving in too much to Democrats.
Yeah, he's yesterday's news at this point. And we all got to move on in America. The left's got to move on beyond Bernie. And I was one of the last holdouts. I was still hanging on to Bernie a year or two after he dropped out in 2020 up into 2022. I was still still the Bernie cheerleader. And I was like, this is just too much. So, and I'm sorry to break his bubble, but Joe Biden is not my good friend. That used to get on my nerves when he said that.
Yep.
Yeah. But I refer to him as Britain's better Bernie. Let's see here. Play this little clip here real quick. Get a little bit of taste of Jeremy Corbyn for everyone here. All right. Here we go. Is that it? Let's see. Yeah, this is Jeremy Corbyn talking about the new party that's to be created.
Your party is going to be democratic. Your party is going to be inclusive. And your party is going to be a place of activity, of campaigning, of purpose. And our first conference, which will be in the autumn, that's going to be the conference that sets out the general framework of the policies on peace, the policies on justice, the policies on equality, and dealing with the housing crisis that affects and afflicts so many. It's also going to be fun. And we will then decide finally on what the name is. Whatever name we choose, it's going to be your party.
Awesome.
That's what I told. Yep.
Yeah.
Britain's better Bernie right there.
Yep. If I lived in the UK, I'd be like, sign me up. I personally, do you have a name that you would like to find ideal for this party?
Honestly, I'm like, your party I like. I just like that sort of democratic nature of it.
I have actually thought about that, but I've also thought of another name.
Ooh, I want to hear it.
And it's an older name, and it existed before, and it existed prior to the creation of the Labor Party in 1900, and that was the Independent Labor Party. And the Independent Labor Party existed because a lot of the trade unionists and socialists were working within the liberal parties in the 1890s, and some of them was like, no, we're going to try to do our own party. So once the Labor Party was created, the Independent Labor Party sometimes worked inside the Labor Party, sometimes they separated from the Labor Party, and they had that kind of relationship all the way until 1975, when they became a publication called Labor Left Briefings, which I don't know if that still exists today or not, but I would say go back to the old name, Independent Labor Party.
Uh-huh.
But
interesting case.
Yeah. So
I mean, in some ways, I feel like, oh, is it really that different from the 1890s, like the Gilded Age, where there's so much, economic inequality? It just makes me so upset that there's people who have so much, and so so many that have so few, and just the extreme like divide between that. Like, the more I work in marketing, the more I see just jobs and how, the dynamics between bosses and workers, the more I'm just like, yeah, I'm even stronger of a socialist. Like, I don't know why people say, oh, when you make money and you have a real job, you'll become more conservative. I'm like, no, if anything, I've become more socialist.
I was told 25, 30 years ago that I will be a Republican by the time I'm at this age. And I'm actually, I don't say I'm further left to be like I'm some kind of badass. Look, I'm more no. By life's reality, my life's kick in the gut has pushed me further left. Just that's where I stand. I used to think 20 years ago, okay, add a couple of more labor unions, let's go and have 30% of the workforce unionized. Let's have single payer Medicare for all. Let's have some free college, and we achieve the kind of socialism that exists in other countries. But I realize there's more to it than that. I would be satisfied if that's what happens tomorrow in America. But no, we got to do more than that.
Definitely. It's just the start. Like, I was thinking back to, like, universal healthcare in the UK and how, let's bring in the American system. I'm like, it's already bad enough, like, with workplace, like the job market being absolute shit, and then employers treating workers like shit, and you're just kind of like held hostage in there, and they don't want you to quit, and they, they'll point at like unemployed people and say, well, all these people would die to be where you are, and it's almost like, the homeless, the unemployed, they keep a supply of it as a kind of a metaphorical whip to keep the workers in line. And it's bad enough, with universal healthcare. Imagine without. Like, that's an even more abusive relationship. And that's what's going on in the US. It's an abusive relationship between workers and the companies they work for. Universal healthcare is the first step in freedom, but there needs to be a lot more than that, like UBI.
Well, I think it's absolutely stupid for capitalists to be against universal health care because, if you have universal health care, it's a disguised capital gains tax cut for corporations because they're not going to have to handle the cost of providing health care for their employees anymore. The bulk of companies that do provide health care for their employees. So be non-exploitive economic growth. It'll allow them to be more competitive. They can reinvest in their company. If you're lucky enough to be a unionized company, you won't have to worry about negotiating medical benefits. Because I remember previous job I had, I was in a union, United Food Commercial Workers, and that was always the contentious issue, our health coverage. And if we didn't have that, we could have gotten better vacation time and higher wages. Then we had a pretty good pension system. And in 3.5 years, I'll be able to get my full pension, and I'm looking forward to that. But as I said, to be a capitalist and to be opposed to something as basic as Medicare for all, like they have in Canada or the NHS in the UK,
right? It's also great for small businesses and entrepreneurship. Like, that's what capitalists should want is, more small businesses, more entrepreneurship, people going off and taking chances and starting businesses and introducing more competition. Look, there's many criticisms of Israel, but one thing I remember about Israel is that it was called the startup nation. And why was it the startup nation? Because they have universal health care there. Cheers to America for paying that. Like, it's just, that's why America is falling behind. And I don't want the UK to go down that same path like the US. I didn't come all the way here to run into the same problems. Just like my mom didn't leave Venezuela to run into the same problems in America.
Yeah. And they have universal health care in Israel. There's one thing I don't criticize about Israel is the fact that they provide medical care for. Now, I criticize the genocide in Gaza.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't criticize the medical care for everybody in the Israeli population, including the Arabs that live in Israel. I don't. The medical care for all part is fine. Just stop the genocide. And that's where it stands. And And the thing about it is, and I tell people, just the whole idea of, I mean, it's just so fucking cruel. And I noticed the evangelical Christians who sucks Netanyahu, they're gay for Netanyahu. They're gay for Netanyahu. The one person they're gay for. They probably don't even know that the government provides medical care for all. They probably be like, they probably would hate that part about it, but
Yeah.
they love the genocide, and they love the post-abortion that exists over there in Gaza. The babies whose limbs are on the streets, and but anyhow,
I don't know how you can be pro-life and pro-Israel. That just doesn't make any sense.
That's why I tell people. When I get lectured about abortion from some of these folks, I'll be like, if you're going to sit there and support, the genocide in Gaza, don't ever talk to me about being pro-life again. That's kind of where I stand. So, but anyhow, and tying in with that, Jeremy Corbyn, who's a good man, who does not have a bigoted bone in his body, has been relentlessly attacked for a bigotry he's not in any way, shape, or form. I don't know the man, but I can look at him and tell him. I can tell he doesn't have an ounce of hate in him at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can tell he doesn't hate anybody. I think he's a very loving person, and to be attacked the way he's been attacked, I mean, it really pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, like, I may not be always in agreement. Like, I think I'm more libertarian than he is, but at the same time, I can tell he's somebody with a good heart and wants the best for people. But that's the thing; you don't have to agree 100% of the time, but like, I think it's important to acknowledge, hey, he's got his heart in the right place. Like, why are you siding with corporations over people? Like, it just upsets me when I see workers, who work for a wage, who don't own the means of production, siding with, the politicians who do all the bidding for capitalists.
I remember in 2022, in October 2022, I went to a protest in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Department of Injustice. And it was for Julian Assange to protest against his extradition. Thankfully, Julian Assange is a free man today. When I came back to the hotel room that evening, I went online and I saw an interview with Julian Assange in London. They were doing a protest in London at that time, and he made not just a passionate plea for Julian Assange his freedom and all that. He also made a passionate speech for absolute free speech and free press. And just that's another thing I love about Julian Assange. Just like Michael Foot, one of the one of the people from the Labor Party that was one of the predecessors to Jeremy Corbyn, and Keir Starmer, the leader of the opposition at the time, Michael Foot. I don't know. Are you familiar with Michael Foot?
Not really.
Michael Foot looks like Bernie Sanders if Bernie Sanders was 100 years old. Michael Foot was the leader of the Labor Party from 1980 to 83, and he was he was further left than Jeremy Corbyn, and wow. And Thatcher really, the defeat was so massive in 1983 that Labor was almost a third party, and the campaign manifesto was, quote unquote, so far left that it was called the longest suicide note in history by the press. And that eventually led to Blairism in the 1990s. When Neil Kinnock took over in 83, he moderated the party, and then Blair took it a little bit. Blair took it way further in 1994 when he took over the party. But anyway, Michael Foot was a journalist, and he was also known to be a free speech absolutist, just like Jeremy Corbyn's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, and I was really impressed with his speech in defense of Julian Assange. I never heard Bernie Sanders talk about Julian Assange.
It's sad. Like, there's so many issues with freedom and free speech in the UK and the US. Like, the US will act like, oh yeah, we are, number one at free speech. And like in the UK, I wouldn't say that they exactly pride themselves on free speech, but like the whole thing with like the internet safety bill where you have to have age verification, like we all know that it's not about, porn or sex or protecting children or anything like that. It's all about controlling the population, and it's all about censorship. It's all about freedom. All of these issues that we have in this world, it's all comes down to freedom. Think about legalizing cannabis. It isn't about, oh, people are going to go be all debauchery with the marijuana. It's all about freedom and controlling people.
Yeah. And I can't wait for cannabis to be legal in North Carolina. I have some cannabis lasagna I would love to prepare. So
that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
When I was in London, one of the last times, I went to a vegan Korean Italian restaurant in Brick Lane, and they had kimchi lasagna with like homemade vegan cheese. It was amazing. I'm like, I keep begging my husband, can we go to this restaurant in London again? It's so good. And he found it just randomly on Google Maps, like in 2022, and we're like, oh, it's so good.
Well, yeah, I'm up for it. Something like that. If I'm ever in London, I'll have to remember to go there. So
I'd be happy to show you around London. Like, oh man, I do love London a lot, even if it isn't like London in the 60s with like all the swinging 60s boutiques.
Did you go to Camden Town?
Yes. Oh, I've been many times.
Yeah.
There's a couple of great vegan places there. I like going to Temple of Satan. I like going to Perezza Pizza. Those are really, really good. When I went to Camden with my parents, I got some matcha with them. That was really nice. And then like when I went to London with my parents, we went to Book of Mormon. That was really, really good.
I went to Camden one day and went to some of those shops and I bought me, you're gonna love this story. I can't wear it now because I'm a little bit chubbier than I was 20 years ago when I bought it. But I bought this jacket. It was a military jacket, but it was kind of like based on the type of mod jackets that was worn in the 1960s by
like those parkas.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, and, the scooter parkas, Quadrophenia, love it.
Yeah, I bought me one of those, and I was like, I gotta have. I said to myself, I gotta have this, and so yeah. Now, several years ago, prior to COVID, I could wear it. Since COVID, I can't wear it. But one day, I'm hoping I'll be able to wear it again. So
it's great. I love the mod style. Like, I got into that when I was a teenager. That's why, like, on some of my social media accounts, I'll be called Angie Moon the Mod.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays I'm more into dandyism, which is kind of like, but the 60s dandyism in particular, which is like the bridge between mod and hippie. So like 67, 68, 66, right around there.
Well, yeah, I kind of fuse, I sort of fuse kind of two cultural references in a lot of my entertainment too. So there's a lot of post-punk and new wave, but there's always a twinge of 1960s in what I am interested in too, if people look at it deep enough. And I mean, like I'm a big fan of the Jam. So
they're great.
Yeah,
I interviewed someone who played in Paul Weller's band. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And Billy Bragg, the organist for the Small Faces, he was I think he's
Ian McLagan?
I believe that's his name. I met him twice because I saw Billy Bragg several times years ago. I was always watching Billy Bragg when he came to Raleigh or came to Chapel Hill, what have you. And so, and I met Billy Bragg several times, but back then I did not have a camera phone. So, but it is a true story.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyhow, with the levity aside and all of that, just I'm glad to hear an American's perspective on the UK right now, the situation and all of that. And are you running across any other Americans with maybe a
In
similar
the
view?
UK, living here, not really. Like, I think a lot of times if someone does hear an American around here, I mean, because we were in a college town, they might just think you're a college student, especially if you look young. I'm sure, I used to go to the gym at my husband's university, at the university he works at. And yeah, some people might think I'm an exchange student or something. I'm really just married to a researcher there.
Right. So I would just, but do you don't run across Americans that may have a similar viewpoint, or
Like online
online?
or here? Well, online
No,
in real life.
in real life. I'm sorry, I should have
No,
clarified.
not really. I don't run into a lot of Americans. Often I'm like the only American in the room, and then I have a lot of people thinking I'm Canadian instead. But I think it's because I lived in Ireland so long that my accent just sounds kind of weird.
Your accent do sound a little Irish.
Yeah, it does sound a bit weird. Like
It's
I
not
can't
weird.
blame people for thinking I sound Canadian. I don't blame them.
You don't sound weird. You sound Irish. I mean, I like it, but
Oh,
it's
thanks.
not weird. It's not weird at all.
Yeah, like I wonder if I'm going to pick up the accent here. I don't really like the local accent here in Coventry very much. Like the accents I like are like either north of here, like north or south.
What's the accent like in Coventry?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to upset people if I say it, so I don't know if I should describe it, but it's very, I don't know. There's similarities to Birmingham, but there's like differences, I think.
Oh,
I have no idea.
I'm trying to think. Now
I know
when
there's multiple accents here because there's some people that will sound more Warwickshire and some that will sound more Coventry.
when I was in England, I picked up a few phrases, and because when you're in another country, you end up kind of picking up some of the local phrases that people will use and everything, and it was just kind of like when people say thank you in the UK, I'm hearing cheers, for example.
Yeah, I say cheers a lot. Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, it's like, oh,
Cheers.
cheers. Yeah.
You all right? You all right? You all right?
Yeah. It was, and when I was in Canada, every other word in my sentence was like a.
Yeah, people did that a lot in Toronto. Like I wouldn't say in other parts of Canada that I visited that people would say a at the end of sentences. That was more of a Toronto thing.
I was in Toronto when it happened.
Yeah, that's why. Makes sense. I think the accents get stronger as you go further east in Canada, and then weaker as you go west, I think.
Oh, okay. No, I was a couple of days in Toronto.
Although the prairies does have a bit of an accent too. Like I've heard people from Alberta and Saskatchewan sound, and also Manitoba sound a bit, like almost like Fargo characters, kind of, but Canadian. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
I have a friend who lives in Montana. He's thinking about moving to Canada because this country is possibly at a point where it could be described as a state that might be fascistic at the moment. So and I tell people if they have the means to leap toward freedom, I say go for it.
Absolutely. Like it's a good decision. Yeah. Like if you can get another passport, then you're sorted. Like there's certain passports that are easy to get, like for dual citizenship, like by descent. So like Irish is one of the easy ones. You just need a grandparent. Italian's even easier. You just need a great grandparent. I think like some Eastern European countries, it's relatively easy. I think like the Baltics might be. I don't know. Like I was trying to look it up potentially for my dad because I was like, ooh, I wonder if he could get Polish citizenship because he had an ancestor that died in the Holocaust. And I think there have been some descendants of Holocaust survivors and victims that managed to get citizenship, but I think they have to know the language. And I'm like, darn it, nobody taught anybody the language.
Yeah. Now I know that like in Latin America, there's a like the Zapatero government in Spain 20 years ago actually had an immigration policy toward Latin America that was considerably more liberal than the United States. And basically anyone who was born in Latin America could immigrate into Spain with no questions at all.
I think that's how a couple of my cousins got there. I know one of my cousins married a Spanish guy and just moved over, and that's how she did it. I think the others just claimed asylum.
Yeah, and so technically, I could probably with not that much strings attached could immigrate to Spain because my mom is Puerto Rican and obviously of Spanish ancestry and all of that. Could probably immigrate there.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that would be great if my parents could move to Spain. It would be way easier to visit them. I like going to Spain. At least I know the language. Like that does help. Or I can read the language. I can't speak it well. Like I speak it with a really bad stutter.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to visit Spain. So I've been wanting to visit I've been wanting to visit Spain and Portugal for many years, and eventually I will do it. I will, like I said earlier. Eventually, when I say I'm going to travel somewhere, I will do it. Eventually, it's just matter of
life happens.
Yes, yeah. Situation.
Like the one part of Europe I really, really want to go to one day. I just want to go travel around Eastern Europe. Like that's the thing. Like I find that Eastern Europe is definitely very underrated, and I think the cities are absolutely beautiful. It's quite clean. Like when I went to Poland, it was very, very clean. I think when I went to Lithuania, it was very clean. I was really impressed with that. I was like, yeah, Eastern Europe looks pretty good.
I
really want to go to Russia one day. Like as crazy as it sounds, I really want to go to Russia. Huge Kino fan. I'm like, oh, I want to just see all the Victor Tsoi types of like sightseeing and stuff like that.
Actually, I got a fascination recently in the last few years of Eastern Europe too, and I will eventually love to visit it. The various countries of Eastern Europe, and maybe if there's a peace. Eventually, I that will make it easier for to visit that part of the world.
Great. Like, oh my God, I make jokes sometimes that I'm a plastic patty for Eastern Europe, basically. In some ways, I feel like it. I'm just like fascinated with the culture and everything. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just like my grandparents went to St. Petersburg and they said it was nice. And then my uncle and my aunt, when I was like a teenager, they went on a trip all across Europe. And they went all the way from the Canary Islands where their daughter lives all the way to Moscow. And they were able to go to London, Paris, Berlin, Prague, like all the different parts of Europe because Venezuela had visa-free access to all of Europe. It was, at that time, it was amazing for them.
Yeah. So when was the last time you were in Venezuela?
3 years old. So before the PSUV came into power.
Oh, okay. So it's been a while.
Oh yeah. 1997 was the year. Okay. I went last.
Okay. Well, Angie, I know you said you had about an hour on the show. So once again, I mean, it's always fascinating having you here. I enjoy our conversations and all of that. Do you have anything you want to add before we leave?
Oh, yeah. So if you go on my website, crazyonclassicrock.com, I'm still selling copies of Crime of the Century, Classic Rock and True Crime. I'm very happy to sign them. My cat, Bowie, can sign them too. So you can get a book signed by Bowie, the cat. And yeah, it's just a great book to read if you're really into classic rock and true crime or one or the other. It's just really good storytelling about like things that connect that you never thought would connect. So if you like storytelling, you like stories based on true stories, then yeah, check out my book. It's really good.
I got a copy, folks. Enjoying
it?
Yes, I did. And I as I said, I can't wait till you have your next copy, your next book out. You let me know, and
Oh yeah, it's the one that's going to be about celebrity trials, and I'm going through 100 years of celebrity trial history. So right now I'm on the 1920s. So we're going to be exploring a few interesting celebrity trials from there. But we start in 1895, and we'll go on into 1995 with O.J. Simpson.
There you go. And there you go, everybody. Follow Angie. I will go and put your information down on the description box as soon as I log off completely. And everyone, want to thank y'all for showing up this evening. And I'll conclude by saying, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it as we're the muckrakers of our time. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms. Help us get to 1,000. We're almost there. And always reject corporate media. And I'll conclude by saying, free Ed Snowden, freedom pardon Ed Snowden. Free Palestine, free healthcare for all, preserve freedom of speech, and
Free Luigi. Free Luigi.
Free Luigi, and fuck Keir Starmer, and fuck Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, everyone, y'all take care. Love y'all. Have a great weekend.